I pulled the trigger on my own life the day I confessed to a crime I didn't commit. All for a man who swore he'd wait forever. 5 years in a concrete cage on Rikers Island, staring at bars that felt like the veins of a dying city. And what did I get? A Dear Jane letter from my lawyer. Forwarded by Elena, my best friend since Juilliard auditions and late-night diner runs, informing me that Victor had filed for divorce and I had 7 days to vacate our penthouse. Our penthouse. The one with the Hudson views I'd only dreamed of during those endless lockdown hours. The one he'd bought as a surprise right before the feds kicked in our door. I stepped off the Greyhound at Port Authority that muggy August afternoon, the air thick with exhaust and regret, my duffel bag slung over one shoulder like a noose. New York hadn't changed, still a beast that chewed you up and spat out your bones, but I had. The tattoos I'd inked in secret. Crude roses blooming from barbed wire on my forearms. Itched under the cheap sundress I'd worn to my release hearing. I hailed a cab to the Upper West Side address. The one Elena's note so helpfully provided. My heart pounding like a subway rat in a trap. What kind of fool shows up unannounced after half a decade? The kind who's got nothing left to lose. The doorman didn't recognize me. Why would he? I was just the ghost wife now. He buzzed me up with a disinterested nod, and the elevator ride was a slow ascension into hell.
Ding.
The doors parted on the 52nd floor, and there it was, floor-to-ceiling glass framing the skyline like a predator's grin. The kind of view that screams money and malice. I fumbled with the key Elena had enclosed, her handwriting looping like a hangman's knot, and pushed inside. They were in the kitchen. Mid-laugh. Victor's arm slung around her waist as he poured champagne into flutes etched with our initials.
Sifal.
Charlotte and Victor. She'd kept the glasses. At least. Elena turned first, her auburn hair catching the light like polished copper. That designer smile freezing into something brittle. Char? Oh my God. What are you? Victor didn't flinch. He set the bottle down with deliberate calm. His blue eyes, those eyes that had once made me believe in second chances, now appraising me like a foreclosure listing. Charlotte. You're early. Early? I'd served every goddamn day of my sentence. Plus 30 for good behavior that felt like a joke. Divorce papers say 7 days. I'm here to collect my things. Elena stepped forward, all faux concern, her hand fluttering to her throat like a Victorian damsel. We didn't expect you so soon. Victor mentioned.
Well.
The logistics. Let me help you pack. She glanced at him. That silent marital code I'd once shared, now twisted into something intimate and alien. I dropped my bag in the foyer, the thud echoing off marble floors I'd never walked. Logistics? That's what you call evicting the woman who took the fall for your husband's Ponzi scheme. My voice cracked, but I held her gaze. Elena, with her Juilliard poise and Broadway understudy gigs, had been the one to suggest the plea deal. Just sign it. Char, she'd whispered in the visitor's room, her tears hot on my knuckles through the plexiglass. Victor's got connections. He'll get you out early. We can't lose everything. Lose everything. As if the penthouse wasn't already stained with the blood money from Victor's hedge fund scams. I'd been the bookkeeper. Sure. But I trusted him when he said the offshore accounts were just tax smart. When the SEC raided, it was my signature on the ledgers. My confession that sealed it. 5 years for wire fraud and money laundering, while he walked with a slap on the wrist and a golden parachute. Victor sighed, rubbing his temples like I was the headache. This isn't the time, Charlotte. We've moved on. Elena, and I. We're engaged. He flashed the ring on her finger, a emerald-cut diamond that caught the light like a middle-finger salute. My ring. The one he'd slipped off my hand the day of the arrest, promising to pawn it for bail that never came. Engaged. The word landed like a sucker punch. I laughed.
A raw,
Ugly sound that bounced off the Sub-Zero fridge. Moved on? You mean upgraded. From the felon to the ingenue.
Elena fluched.
But Victor's jaw tightened, that telltale tick I'd memorized during our courtship. Back when he was just a charming quant from Yale and I was the starry-eyed accountant chasing stability in the chaos of Post 9/11 New York. Get out. Charlotte, Elena said, her voice steel-wrapped in silk. You're not welcome here. Not after what you did. What I did. I lunged for the island counter, grabbing the champagne bottle by the neck. For a split second, I saw it. The arc. The shatter. The crimson spray that wasn't blood, but close enough. But I set it down. Deliberate. My knuckles white. What I did, I covered for him. For both of you. Because Elena knew. She'd been the one wiring the kickbacks to her agent in LA, funneling Victor's dirty cash into her failing theater dreams. I'd found the emails during a late-night audit, deleted them to protect her. And look where it got me. Victor's phone buzzed on the counter, a sleek iPhone 15. Because of course he'd upgraded. He glanced at it, then at me. Security's on speed dial. Don't make this ugly.
Ugly.
As if our life hadn't been a masterclass in it. I backed toward the bedroom, our bedroom, grabbing a silk blouse from the closet that still smelled like my Chanel No.
5.
1 week, I repeated, echoing the notice. I'll be out. But not before I get what's mine. As I stormed back to the elevator, duffel heavier with stolen linens and a single Louboutin heel. The doors closing on their stunned faces. I felt the first spark. Not rage. Exactly. Something colder. Calculation. Victor had always said I was the smart one. The numbers girl who balanced his chaos.
Now.
I'd balance the scales. That night, I crashed at a Fleabag motel in Hell's Kitchen. The kind where the walls thrum with neighbors' arguments and the bed smells like regret. I spread Elena's note on the scarred nightstand, tracing the eviction stamp. 7 days. Plenty of time to dig. My old laptop, salvaged from storage, booted up with the wine. And I logged into the dark web forums I'd bookmarked before the bust, places where ex-cons traded tips on white-collar revenge. Penthouse purchase history, I typed into an encrypted chat. NYC. Upper West. 52nd floor.
Victor Hale.
Responses trickled in like rainwater. Public records hacks. Title searches for Benjamin. By dawn, I'd pieced it together. The penthouse wasn't Victor's surprise. It was bought 6 months into my sentence.
Cash.
Through a shell corp called Elysium Holdings. Elena's middle name was Elise.
Q.
But the real hook sank in when I cross-referenced the deed against Victor's SEC fine, waived. Oddly, after a settlement. The penthouse? Collateral on a loan from a Cayman bank. The same one I'd funneled his clients' retirements into. I'd thought it was over. My confession burying the bodies.
But no.
They'd leveraged my silence into real estate gold. I closed the laptop, the motel's neon sign flickering, no vacancy through the blinds like a dare. Victor and Elena thought they were untouchable, sipping Veuve in my stolen skybox. They were wrong. I built their empire on falsified spreadsheets. Dismantling it would be child's play. Or so I told myself, ignoring the tremor in my hands. Revenge isn't a straight line. It's a noose you tie around your own neck first. The next morning, I hit the streets, blending into the midtown hustle like a shadow in a suit. First stop, the coffee shop on the corner of their building, where the barista, a kid with sleeve tats and a nose ring, eyed my crumpled dollar suspiciously. Black. 2 sugars, I muttered, sliding into a corner booth with a view of the lobby. Hours ticked by, my untouched Americano going cold as I watched the parade, dog walkers in Lululemon, hedge fund bros barking into AirPods. And then her.
Hannah.
Emerging in yoga pants and a cashmere wrap, her engagement ring glinting like a beacon. She didn't see me. Why would she? I was the past. The punchline at their cocktail parties. Remember Charlotte? The one who flipped for a plea. Laughter. Clinking glasses. I followed her at a distance. Subway to the Upper East Side, where she ducked into a nondescript brownstone labeled Elise Theatricals, her production company. Funded, no doubt, by Victor's laundered largesse. I waited across the street, hood up against the drizzle, until she emerged with a stack of scripts under her arm. That's when I stepped out, casual as a wrong turn.
Elena.
Fancy meeting you here, she startled, scripts tumbling to the wet pavement.
Jesus.
Charlotte. Stalking now? That's a violation. Parole officer says I'm clean. Just catching up with an old friend. I bent to help. Our fingers brushing on a soggy page, some indie drama about betrayal. Ironic. How's the directing gig? Victor footing the bills. Her eyes narrowed. That Broadway steel flashing.
Get lost.
Or I'll call the cops myself. I straightened, handing her the script with a smile that didn't reach my eyes. One call, and I spill. Remember those wires to your agent, the ones I scrubbed from the server? She paled, glancing around like the rain held ears. You wouldn't. After everything you stole. I leaned in, voice low. 7 days. Or the penthouse becomes Exhibit A in a fraud reopen. She snatched the script and bolted, heels splashing puddles. Score 1 for the ghost. But as I melted back into the crowd, a gnawing doubt crept in. What if Victor had contingencies? The man who'd charmed senators and dodged audits didn't build an empire on trust alone. By evening, I was back at the motel, nursing a burner phone and a 6-pack of cheap IPAs. A text from an anonymous number, my dark web contact. Deeper dive? $500 crypto. I transferred it, heart racing. The file arrived at midnight. Emails,
Wire transfers.
and a bombshell. The penthouse purchase wasn't just dirty money. It was tied to a bigger fish, a senator's slush fund. Victor's consulting fees funneled through Elena's LLC to buy influence for a green energy bill. My confession had covered the basics. But this was treason adjacent. The kind of dirt that toppled dynasties. I stared at the screen, the pieces clicking like a loaded chamber. Victor hadn't just betrayed me, he'd weaponized my sacrifice. And Elena? She'd been the architect. Flipping from confidant to co-conspirator the moment the cuffs clicked on my wrists. They deserved the fall. But as I plotted the next move, anonymous tips to the feds, leaked docs to the Times, a whisper in my gut warned, revenge is a mirror. Stare too long, and you become the monster.
Still.
I hit send on the first leak, a redacted email chain to a journalist contact from my pre-prison days. for the story on Hale's rise. Off the record until it's not. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of penthouse shards and Elena's scream echoing off steel bars. Day 3 dawned with a knock that rattled the thin door. Parole officer? Cops?
No, Victor.
Standing there in a Burberry trench, rain beating on his shoulders like unshed tears. "We need to talk," he said, pushing past me without invitation. The room shrank around him. His cologne, the same Creed Aventus from our honeymoon, choking the air.
Talk.
Like how you talked me into that plea. I barred the door, arms crossed over my ink. He paced, glancing at the laptop like it held state secrets. "This ends now. Charlotte." Elena's scared. "She's pregnant." The word hit like a freight train.
Pregnant.
Our dream. Once, naming the nursery after his mother. Montessori toys in that very penthouse.
Now.
It was theirs. A family built on my ruins. "Congrats," I spat, though my throat burned. Boy or girl? Another little fraud ready for Wall Street. His face crumpled. Just for a second, the boy I'd fallen for at a Hamptons mixer. All earnest charm and big ideas. I never meant for it to go this far. The fund was drowning. You knew the risks. I knew nothing. My voice rose. Fists clenched. You fed me lies. One spreadsheet at a time. And Elena, God. How long? He stopped pacing, eyes meeting mine with that old intensity. Since the trial. She was there for me when I couldn't be. Rotting for your sins. I laughed bitterly. Heroic. Now get out. Or I'll make that pregnancy announcement a lot more public. He reached for my arm, fingers grazing the tattoo.
Wait.
The penthouse, it's yours. Sign the divorce clean, and it's deeded back. No strings. A trap, wrapped in nostalgia. Why now? Afraid of the leaks. His silence was answer enough. As he left, the door clicking shut like a vault, I sank onto the bed. The offer tempted freedom, a fresh start in that sky-high perch. But accepting meant swallowing the betrayal whole.
No.
I'd take it all down, brick by glass brick. That night, the journalist bit, a cryptic email. Intriguing. Meet tomorrow? Coffee. Neutral ground. The game was on. Tension coiled in my chest like a spring, the city outside humming with oblivious life. Little did they know, the storm was brewing on the 52nd floor. The diner on 9th Avenue smelled like grease and second chances, the kind of place where truckers nursed hangovers and informants spilled beans over eggs over easy. I slid into the booth across from Riley Voss, the investigative reporter who'd once profiled my rags to riches, wedding in Cranes. Her hair was grayer now, streaked like the East River at low tide, but those hawk eyes hadn't dulled. Charlotte Hale, or should I say Voss?
No.
Wait. Back to maiden name? She smirked, sliding a laminated menu my way. Black calls me Voss now. Suits the exile. I ordered coffee, strong enough to strip paint,
And leaned in.
You got my package? She nodded, pulling a tablet from her messenger bag, the screen glowing with redacted PDFs. Hale's hedge fund was a house of cards.
All right.
But this Senator Engel? Slush funds for green energy kickbacks? That's Pulitzer bait if it sticks. Her finger tapped a wire transfer. $2.3 million from Elysium Holdings to a PAC. Timestamped 2 weeks after my sentencing. Your signatures all over the prelims. But these? Clean as a whistle. Victor's doing? Elena's. My best friend. Turned fiancé.
The words tasted like ash.
Riley's brow arched, scandal cells, and I fed her more. The penthouse deed. The Cayman links. Victor's waved fine, smelling like a backroom deal. They're untouchable up there. Sipping Dom while I'm scraping by on $200 parole checks. Riley whistled low. Motivation noted.
But why now?
5 years is a long grudge. Her eyes flicked to my arms. The tattoos peeking from sleeves. Prison ink. Judgment. Or just curiosity. Because they think I'm broken. I met her gaze. Steady. I'm not.
Publish it.
Ruin them. She pocketed the tablet, signaling the waitress. Off the record. Victor's connected. That senator? Running for governor next year. You poke this bear. It bites back. Let it. The coffee arrived.
Scalding.
As we hashed details, anonymous sourcing, timeline for drop, I felt alive for the first time since the clank of release. Power. Real power. In traded secrets over Formica. Back on the street. The noon sun cut through smog like a knife, and I headed uptown. Burner buzzing with a blocked call. I let it go to voicemail. Victor's voice.
Clipped.
Heard your shopping stories. Bad move.
Char.
Call off the dogs. Or the penthouse offer's gone. And Elena's little secret? It stays buried. Little secret. The pregnancy. Or something juicier. I deleted it. Hailing a cab to the brownstone. Time to rattle Elena's cage again. Ellie's theatricals was a front. Posters for off-Broadway flops peeling from the walls. The air thick with dust and desperation. Elena was in the back office. Feet up on a desk cluttered with headshots. Scrolling Zillow on her laptop. She jumped when I wrapped the glass. Slamming it shut. You again? I swear. Charlotte. Restraining orders a phone call away. I slipped inside, locking the door behind me. The room felt smaller. Her perfume cloying Chanel No. 5. My scent.
Thief.
But we're past threats. Victor left a message. Little secret.
Spill.
She laughed. Nervous. Hand drifting to her still flat belly. Paranoid much? It's the baby. Obviously. Due in spring. Happy for us. Miscarriage of justice. More like. I perched on the desk's edge, invading her space. Or is it the senator? Those pack wires I found. Your LLC's got sticky fingers. Her face drained of color. Lips parting like a fish on a hook. How? Victor said you were done digging. Victor lies. Always has. I pulled out my phone, flashing the PDF thumbnail. One click, and Riley Voss runs the whole circus. Front page. Broadway bound on blood money. Elena bolted up. Chair scraping linoleum. You bitch. After I visited every week, wrote letters, I loved you like a sister. Loved my silence. You mean? Flashback hit hard. Her in the visitor's booth. Smuggling makeup and whispers of Victor's progress. Lies. All of it. While I sewed license plates, she was auditioning for roles his cash bought. You flipped the script on me. Now I return the favor. She paced. Manicured nails digging into palms. Okay.
Fine.
It was survival. The fund was crashing, 2008 echoes. Clients pulling out. Victor needed a buffer. I was the buffer. The LLC? a cutout for the wires. Harmless consulting. Harmless? That's election tampering light. I stood, blocking her path. And the penthouse? Your down payment on domestic bliss. Tears welled. Genuine or not, I couldn't tell anymore. It was supposed to be temporary. Victor promised to deed it back when you got out.
Then.
Things changed. Her hand on her stomach again. Protective. The baby's real.
Char.
Innocent. Innocent. The word twisted like a knife. I dreamed of kids in that glass tower. Victor teaching them chess by the window. Me reading bedtime stories from the leather club chair.
Now.
It was poison fruit. Sign it over.
Now.
Or the story drops tomorrow. She slumped into the chair.
Defeated.
You're a monster. This isn't you. This is what you made me. I watched her pull up the real estate portal, fingers trembling as she initiated the transfer docs. Digital signatures. Blockchain stamps. Modern betrayal. Sealed with a ping.
Sent.
Now leave us alone. As I left the brownstone, the sun dipping low, casting long shadows like accusatory fingers, triumph soured. Elena's tears lingered. A hook in my gut. Was the baby collateral? No, clean revenge. I told myself. But the line blurred. Victor's offer echoing. The penthouse for peace. That evening, Riley texted. Story greenlit. Drops Friday. You okay? I replied yes. Then hit a dive bar in Chelsea. The kind with sticky floors and jukebox blues. Shots of Jameson burned down the doubt. But not the dreams. Elena's sob. Victor's plea. A crib in the nursery mocking me. Day 5 brought escalation. A tail, subtle. A black SUV idling outside the motel. Victor's muscle? Or the senator's? I ditched it in a bodega run, grabbing burner Sims and a prepaid visa. Next, the lawyer. Not Victor's shark, mine. A public defender named Marco who'd fought the plea like a lion with clipped wings. We met in his cluttered walk-up off Park Avenue. Files stacked like Jenga. Charlotte, he boomed, hugging me fierce. You look fierce. Italian warmth. Unchanged. Prison polish. I spread the docs on his coffee table, amid pizza boxes and case law. Reopen viable? Fraud on the court. New evidence. He scanned, whistling.
Solid.
Your confession was coerced, implied threats. With this, he tapped the emails. Perjury charges on Hale. Restitution for you. But it's war. They'll countersue. Smear campaign. You ready for the mud?
Mud.
The American way, politics, business, love. All the same slime. Born ready. We filed the motion by midnight. E-filing to the Southern District. Sleep evaded me after. The motels hum a lullaby of what-ifs. Morning 6, chaos. Victor's call. Unblocked this time. You filed? Are you insane? The senator's people, they'll bury you. Panic edged his voice. The golden boy cracking. Good. Let them dig my grave next to yours.
Click.
Then Elena. Sobbing voicemail. Please? Charlotte. The baby's kicking. We can settle anything.
Delete.
By noon, the SUV was back. But I was gone, checked out, duffel in tow, crashing at Marco's couch. The city felt alive. Electric with impending storm. Friday loomed. Riley's piece of thunderclap. That night, Alone in the dim light of Marco's den, I cracked open a bottle of Chianti he'd left, celebratory.
He'd said.
The wine hit hard, unlocking memories. Victor's proposal on the Brooklyn Bridge. Fog rolling in like fate. Elena's toast at the wedding. To empires built on trust.
Lies. All.
But as buzz settled into ache, I wondered, was revenge empire building too? My own Ponzi of pain? A knock shattered the haze, insistent, furious. I peered through the peephole. Victor, disheveled.
No trench coat armor.
Open up.
Char.
It's over. I did. Chain latched. His eyes were wild, stubble shadowing that chiseled jaw. The story, Riley killed it. Senator's pull. Now the filing? They're coming for you. Assault charges? From the kitchen that night.
Bluff.
Or was it? My grip tightened on the door. Boo-hoo. Cry me a river from your ivory tower. He pressed closer, voice dropping. It's not just us. Elena, she's spiraling. Miscarriage risk. Please. The word please from Victor Hale, unthinkable. Pity flickered, unbidden. Then fight fair. Give me the truth. All of it. He hesitated, rain-slick hair falling over forehead. The fund. It started small. Offshore tweaks for clients. Then the senator approached. Green bill needed donors. Elena's LLC was perfect. Untraceable. Your confession? It bought time. I thought I'd fix it before. Before I rotted, rage surged. Chain rattling. You used me. Both of you. Tears, real ones, tracked his cheeks. I loved you. Still do. In some fucked up way. The penthouse was guilt money.
Take it.
End this.
Guilt money.
The offer again, laced with desperation. I slammed the door, heart hammering. Love, a lie as old as Eden. But doubt seated. Was I the villain now? Toppling a fragile nest? Dawn broke gray. Friday's headline delayed, but the filing public. Protests brewed online, forums buzzing with Free Charlotte.
Ex-cons rallying.
Power shifted. Intoxicating. Yet as I prepped for court, Marco's pep talk ringing. Elena's voicemail replayed, kicking. Life. Innocent. In the crossfire. The hearing was a circus, cameras flashing outside Foley Square. Victor and Elena in the gallery. Her hand on his, pale as ghosts. The judge. A no-nonsense black woman with a Brooklyn edge. Scan the motion. Coercion alleged. New evidence substantial. Hearing set for review. MS. Voss. You're reinstated pending outcome. Reinstated. The word hung. Victor's glare burning holes. As we adjourned, Elena cornered me in the hall. Voice a whisper shout. You win. Penthouse is yours. But the baby's coming. With or without your war.
Va.
My doing. I nodded, numb, watching them flee into a town car. Victory tasted like bile. That afternoon, alone in the now deeded penthouse, keys forwarded by a sheepish lawyer, I paced the empty expanse. Views mocked, the city sprawling, indifferent. I collapsed on the bare floor, sobs racking. Revenge acquired, but the hollow echoed louder. Night fell, city lights winking like conspirators. A final text from Riley, story revived, anonymous source. Tomorrow. Too late, or just in time, The penthouse felt like a tomb that first night, vast, echoing with ghosts of what-ifs. I wandered the rooms, fingers trailing dustless counters, the nursery door ajar like an accusation. Elena's touch, pastel walls half-painted, a mobile of paper cranes dangling limp. They'd planned, hoped, while I'd planned ruin.
Sleep dodged me.
The Hudson's black mirror reflecting a woman I barely knew, hollow-cheeked, eyes shadowed with intent. By 4 a.m., I was at the desk, laptop open to Riley's draft, leaked via our back channel. Empire of Shadows, how a Wall Street darling and his fiancée built a fortune on a woman's prison sentence. Brutal.
True.
Names redacted for legal. But the senator's pack? Front and center. With diagrams tracing the money trail back to Elysium. I hit forward to a few trusted contacts, activists from the Innocence Project, a podcaster on white-collar crime. Viral ignition. By sunrise. Twitter, X. Whatever, ignited. Hale scandal trending. Memes of Victor as a snake in a suit. Elena's theater posters defaced digitally with devil horns. Schadenfreude surged, sweet as contraband candy. But the call came at 7:02.
Marco.
Voice tight. Feds at the door.
Not ours, theirs.
Senator's office filed a motion to seal your records. National security bullshit. And Charlotte.
Assault warrant.
From the kitchen incident. Victor pressed charges. Assault. The bottle I'd gripped, but not swung.
A lie.
Weaponized. It's a setup. Prove it. But stay put. They're en route.
Click.
Panic clawed, Riker's flashbacks. The slam of gates. I bolted to the bedroom, rifling drawers for anything incriminating. Nothing. They'd cleared it. Go Saul. Then, the elevator dinged too soon. Voices in the foyer. Suits. Badges glinting. Charlotte boss? FBI. We need to talk. I emerged. Hands visible. Pulse thundering. 2 agents, a stone-faced woman with a ponytail. Her partner a rumpled guy nursing coffee breath. Voluntary chat downtown. Your cooperation could help. Help whom? Am I under arrest? Ponytail smiled.
Thin.
Not yet. But obstruction's a charge we like to avoid. The ride to Federal Plaza was silent. Cuffs absent, but invisible. Interrogation room. Stark. One-way mirror glaring. They slid folders across, photos of me at the brownstone. Timestamps from CCTV. Harassment.
Threats.
And this filing? Smells like revenge porn for the justice system. Revenge. I laughed.
Raw.
Tried justice delayed. Victor's emails. Suborned. Ponytail cut in. Hale claims you hacked them. Forged. Lies layered like lacquer. Check the metadata. It's legit. Rumpled leaned forward. Or, we check your parole. 1 violation. Back inside. Your call. The mirror mocked. Was this the twist? My own trap snapping shut? Hours blurred, questions looping. My answers stonewalled. By noon, Marco burst in. Suit askew. Bail hearing set. But Charlotte, they've got Elena prepping a victim statement. Pregnant widow-to-be vibe. Widow? Hyperbole? Or threat? Released on my own recognizance, Marco's charm and a judge's skepticism, I hit the streets dazed. The city a blur of honks and heat. Back to the penthouse. Now a gilded cage. The viral wave crested that evening. Riley's piece dropped. Unredacted leaks flooding outlets.
CNN ticker, Scandal rocks new lead.
Victor's fund tanked 40% in after hours. Clients fleeing like rats. Elena's Twitter, at Elise on stage, exploded with hate. Homewrecker, blood money muse. Schadenfreude peaked. But so did the doubt. A DM from an anonymous handle. Stop now. Or the baby pays.
Threats. Real.
I paced the living room. Phone in hand.
Dia link Elena.
Voicemail. Her voice.
Strained.
If you're listening, please. It's too much. Meet me. The diner. 8 p.m. Trap or olive branch? The clock ticked. Tension coiling like barbed wire. I went, armed with Marco's advice. Record everything. The diner hummed with after-work rush. Fluorescent buzz over meatloaf specials. Elena sat in the back booth. Hood up.
No makeup.
Looking every bit the haunted ingenue. Sit, she whispered as I approached. No ring, slipped off. You're alone? I slid in. Phone discreetly taping. She nodded. Eyes red-rimmed. Victor's holed up with lawyers. The story. It's destroying us.
A pause.
Hand to belly. Doctor says stress. Save the sob story. But my voice wavered. Up close. She was fragile. The Broadway gloss cracked. No story. Truth. She pushed a USB drive across the table. Everything. Unredacted. The senator's calls. My logs.
Use it.
But call off the hounds first.
Why?
Pity fuck for old times. Her laugh was bitter.
Guilt. And.
The baby's yours.
Char.
Time fractured.
What?
IVF. Victor's sample. But the egg yours.
We
harvested before the arrest. You signed the consent. Drunk on wedding champagne. Thought it'd be our family. The world tilted. My egg. My child. Growing in her womb. Heir to the empire I toppled. You bitch. You planned this.
No.
Tears spilled. It was hope. Then the plea. We froze it. When you didn't come back soon enough. Victor pushed. But it's yours. DNA proof.
Proof.
The word ignited fury. Laced with something softer. Maternal ache I'd buried in cell block nights. And you let me evict you? From my own nursery. She flinched. We didn't know it'd take. Or that you'd become this.
This.
The Avenger. Scales tipped too far. Sirens wailed outside. Cops. Feds.
No.
Just NYPD routine. But the USB burned in my palm. Leverage. Or legacy. I need time. I stood. Legs unsteady. No more leaks. For now. Back in the penthouse. USB plugged in. Terabytes of dirt. Recordings of Victor schmoozing the senator. Elena's tearful confession to a therapist about stealing your future. And files. Embryo contracts. My looping signature on consent forms. It was real. A daughter. Ultrasound pics time-stamped last week. Tiny heartbeat flickering. Collapse came then. On the nursery floor. Sobs echoing off cranes. Revenge's climax, not triumph. But a mirror shattering. I'd betrayed myself. Chasing phantoms. While life bloomed in the enemy's garden. Dawn brought decisions. I called Riley. Kill the follow-up. And the podcaster, pull it. Her protests fell on deaf ears. Then Marco dropped the motion. Please stands. You sure? His voice. Paternal.
Yeah.
New play. I hung up, dialing Victor.
Truce.
But the baby's mine visitation. Co-parenting. Or the USB drops. Silence. Then deal. Meet tomorrow. Neutral. The meeting. Central Park. Under the Bethesda fountain. Tourists milling like extras in our drama. Victor arrived first. Elena on his arm, pale, but standing.
No lawyers.
Just us. Fractured family. You win, he said, extending a hand. Papers. Custody agreement. Penthouse quitclaim reversed. Shared parenting. Therapy clauses. Controversial me. The ex-con Aunt Mom? Society would sneer. Debate online. Villain redeemed. Or enabler. Elena met my eyes. Tentative bridge. She's kicking again. Want to feel? I did. Palm to her belly. The flutter. A secret shared. Buried no more. Betrayal scar remained. But the twist. No clear villain. Victor's schemes built dreams. My silence enabled. Elena's flips birthed hope. We'd all aired. Paid in fragments. As we walked, awkward trio. Future uncertain. The city thrummed approval. Or indifference. Revenge ended not in ashes. But ambiguity. A penthouse reclaimed. A child unbound. Debates raging in comment sections. Was it justice? Absolution? Or just another American compromise? Tense and teetering? Months later. The nursery alive with cries, our daughters. Named after no one but possibility, I stood at the window. Skyline sprawling. Victor and Elena downstairs. Co-parenting charade holding. The feds? Settled quiet. Senators bill past sand scandal. My scars? Faded ink. Deeper cuts healing slow. But in quiet nights, doubt whispers. Did I forgive too soon? Or fight too hard? The answer divides. Heroes. Villains. Shades between. That's the American revenge. No victors. Just survivors. Arguing in the dark.